Hello, and welcome to another episode of Pull Up 3. I am Paragon Don,
I'm Jamae.
And I'm Jay Trent.
and today we have a very special guest as we talk about the Washington Mystics, color commentator, analyst, and producer, Misha Jones.
What's going on, good people? Happy to join you all. Thanks for having me.
We are honored to have you. So, since you do have a plethora of things you do, would you like to describe those things for us, how you got started in the space, things of that nature?
Yeah, for sure. So from day one, straight out the womb, women's basketball fan. I have pictures of me as a foot long baby at courtside at Mystics games. Got a picture of Cheryl Swoops holding me. Apparently, according to my people, my lore is that there was a game where the Comets came to town and I was playing with her son Jordan, who's like just like a year or so older than me. So been around the game forever. Um, Played in college as well, at William and Mary. And then, went and got a degree in journalism and broadcast journalism because I knew I wanted to work in the space. So I've done everything from beat writing, covering the Mystics, back in 2016, 17 to calling games at William and Mary now, as an alum, which is pretty freaking cool, if I must say. Produce Good Game with Sarah Spain, which is not just women's basketball, but all women's sports, excuse me. The first of its kind, first daily women's sports show ever. And then, yeah, I do a bunch of other stuff. Love to keep the conversation going on Twitter, on podcasts, whenever I can, like this. And just love the game. Just love the game.
We love you. Went to William and Mary. My best friend is also alumni, so that is so cool.
Period. Who is your
Um,
bestie? Wait.
we'll discuss. We'll discuss.
Okay.
Actually, I don't know. You might actually know her. I don't know if y'all. We'll
What
discuss.
year? What year did your bestie graduate?
2020.
Oh, I might. I graduated 2019 now.
It's a small world.
Ooh.
We'll talk offline. Oh.
Yeah. Right.
I
Okay.
I'm always impressed when people say they do color commentating because that's something I would like to do, but also I know for a fact it would be very hard to stop me from being like, damn, that nigga nice on live TV.
It takes everything in me. Let
And
me tell you, it takes everything in me. I still get a little bit. Some people would call it loose. I call it real. Like I'm watching basketball. I'm not going to be a stuffed up, stuffy version of myself. Like the point is to infect the people watching with the joy that you have for it. So hey, I might not drop no curse words because I don't want to get fired. But I feel you.
I might be jumping out my seat and swing my shirt like Petey Pablo on live TV.
Oh,
Like,
that's okay though. Can't nobody see you. Can't nobody see you. I got videos on my Instagram right now, me grabbing my play-by-play guy and punching him and all kind of stuff. So hey, it'd be like that sometimes.
well, as we know, the Washington Mystics had an eventful season.
Mm.
They started off the season, I think, 0 and
Oh, and
11,
12.
12 and 12,
The worst start in franchise history.
and somehow did not end the season with the worst record in the league. They almost had a playoff spot.
Yeah.
Uh, there were a lot of things to be sad about, a lot of things to look forward to in the future. Um, it seems like injuries have been a constant in with the Mystics over the last couple years. Um, how would you describe their season?
Um, I think I would describe it as obviously this is a franchise that under the Tebows, I try not to differentiate the two because sometimes I just feel like Mike was giving Eric his son, hey, here's what you should do, and da, 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 da. So I'm gonna call them the Tebows. I feel like this season was quintessential Tebow type situation. Dealing with a bunch of injuries, don't have a full roster. Even when they had their franchise cornerstone, Elena Deladon, the few years that she was, I consider her top form, for a portion of the games, not even an entire season. They still had to deal with her being out with the back. They still had to deal with, a variety of other injuries. And this season felt very much the same, right? You had Brittany Sykes deal with a lot of stuff. She only played 18 games. Shakira Austin, who I think is the future of this franchise, frankly, only played 12 games. Carly Samuelson, who came in from the Sparks, not this past season, I believe the season before that, or I could be incorrect. who brings a real spark for them, only played 29 games. She missed a bunch of time as well. And so they dealt with the injuries. And that feels like something they've dealt with for like the last decade of Mystics basketball, frankly. Defensively, they were what we expected them to be, right? They're a defensive minded team. And so I think we saw those fireworks regardless of whether they were losing, with 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter because they don't know how to execute on one end, but they was D'ing the fuck up on the other side. We saw a lot of that, a lot of them losing down the stretch because of execution. Didn't really have a point guard. I shouldn't say that. Julie Van Loo did her thing when she could. I think Jade Melbourne played some really good minutes for them as well. But to me, I still want them to find just a little something else, somebody with some je ne sais quoi, you know what I'm saying? Um, so yeah, I think on the defensive end they did a lot of what we expected them to do, but on offense they struggled. Execution wise, they struggled, and that's what you expect when you have so many different players who are key to what you try to do, who are in and out of the lineup. So overall, I think they exceeded my expectations towards the end of the season. I think 3 games in, I posted on my TikTok like a wellness check for Mystics fans because I was like, it's gonna be a long year, and they surprised me. So
I think it's funny that you mentioned the defense, and that's something that we always talk about when we talk about the Mystics. Uh, as Jay frankly puts it, like they always get muddy.
hmm
They are going to make sure if we don't score, y'all not scoring either.
you're damn
So
right.
uh it's nice seeing that like no matter who's in the lineup for them, no matter whether they're healthy, no matter whether the stars are there, it's like this is what we're going to do. You're not having your career not it won't be against us. Your career night won't be against us.
I bet it won't be.
If you trying to keep up your averages, you better wait till you play somebody else.
And it's incredible because it'd be different if the defense they played, because let's be real, the offense to me it was almost non-existent. Like I cringed every time they inbounded the ball and had a possession, but defensively their level kept them in games with some of the best teams in the WNBA, regardless of how god awful the offense was at times and the execution was. And I think that just says, we talk about the Tebows, that says so much about kind of the blueprint that they laid, and the culture that team has. But yeah, they make it muddy. Is that the word? Muddy?
Yeah, it was muddy.
Yeah.
I think looking at their season, I think we ended up talking about this on a previous episode. The Mystics only lost, I think they only lost like 2 or 3 games out of
The
this
Olympic break?
season by like 20 points. Like
Oh, yeah.
majority of them losses were within 5, 6, 7. Like they were close the majority of that game. So
hmm
yeah, that was and also on top of that, because their best players were in and out the lineup so much, the fact their defense was so good, and I wouldn't necessarily say they had like defensive players, uh,
hmm
theoretically, like at least as a mainstay. Like if you took a random person out the Mystics roster, you're not gonna be like, yeah, go lock up this person. But like as a team, it was just so seamless and it was still worked out. So yeah, they impressed me a lot, regardless of how it started. That ending, they kept us captivated to the end.
I think we talked about the defense thing. I think we talked about how like their defensive cornerstones are supposed to be Brittany Sykes and Shakira Austin, and like for them to play at that level without them for majority of the season, I think is really impressive. To the offensive thing, I would have loved for them to commit to Aaliyah Edwards a little bit earlier. I feel like her her not being on the all rookie team, I think is partially because the Mystics were bad, but also I don't think she really ever got the stretch to be like I'm the focal point of the offense, which I think since you didn't have Brittany, Carly was in and out, Shakira was in and out. Um, she's kind of your best bet. And I know you got Ariel Atkins, and she's been with the team for a long time, and this is kind of her, her and Mystics go together really bad. But like, I think it should have been I think there should have been a time for them to be like, okay, well, Aaliyah, you know what? You might as well go out there and put on a show. Like we have, and because we saw that too, right? Like there were several games where they were like, all right, we're gonna run the offense essentially through Aaliyah, and those are some of her best games. And like, that's not to say that she was gonna put up 30 every night, but like, I think her being able to give out a consistent like 15 and 8 would have like definitely shifted the conversation around her to be more of a player that people thought about for all rookie. Like I was really rooting for her because I'm like, we saw that she was already good in college, but I feel like we saw her start to like kind of take a step, a little baby step, but she started to take a little step. And I just wanted to see so much more of that. But it's like when you have like Rakia Jackson all of a sudden taking over the offense, and then you got Kaylin and Angel, and then Camilla comes back, like, and then Leonie Fee, who nobody knew was a rookie until August. Like at this point, like she is kind of hard for you to get in the books. But I think though if she would have, if we would have saw her a lot earlier, that she could have had um a little bit more hype around her. And I think that'll be good for them, for the Mystics to kind of like keep her around. But yeah, I would love to like see her a little bit more.
I just want to say the Mystics ain't really start taking off until they introduce Brunch Ball. That's something to think about right there.
Hey, you know what?
That's just something to think about. Maybe y'all need to start putting it up. Then y'all need to start advertising that a little bit earlier. The first time I seen it, they started winning some games. That's all I'm gonna say. Niggas was 0-12 until Mimosas got introduced.
The mimosas and Bellinis set that shit off. Yeah. Yeah. I think I agree with that. I would have loved to see her able to thrive. Because to your point, watching her in the tournament last year, in the NCAA tournament, she was a revelation. Like she was good. She's been solid for you, or was solid for UConn the duration of that season. But I think especially in the tournament, it was her, it was Paige, and it was Nika Mule. And Paige Beckers. Everybody who's listening to this should know who Paige Beckers is, but just in case, Paige Beckers. So I agree on that point. And then I also, it felt like they ran out of time on it, but I was really intrigued by what they were getting from Shatori Walker Kimbrough. And I've been saying this for years, and Eric Tebow had been saying that for years, that he wanted her to be more attack minded and aggressive, because she's got a couple things in that bag. He's got some work to do, right? It's got some polishing to do, but she reminds me of an earlier in her career Ariel Atkins, like 3 seasons ago. And then Emily Englster, I think she's the kind of player to me, like a Mo Billings or like a Alana Smith, a player who for a few seasons, somebody or a team doesn't really understand her, doesn't really know where to plug her in, but let her end up on the right squad, and maybe it's in DC. I don't know how things are going to shake out in the offseason, but I just feel like with the right attention and the right system, she could be very deadly off the bench. And she was in spurts for the Mystics this season.
Yeah, I think mentioning going back to Shatori Walker Kimbrough, like she had like a dark horse sixth player of the year caliber season down the stretch, I thought. And I've said before that Aaliyah Edwards is my favorite rookie. I've been saying that pretty much all season because I just love um, a big who can, roll and cut. If you get her the ball in the post, she can, make something happen with it. And I like the stretch where you can see her kind of growing into her role on offense, especially. And like you said, they kind of, ran out of time with it this season. But going forward, I would like to see how they expound on that. And I know we'll probably get to talking about um, guard play and what they look to do going forward. But that could be the key to unlock that.
So, yeah, I mentioned various players on the Mystics roster, and obviously we know that expansion draft is coming. So, Miss Misha, if you would like to kick it off and tell us what six would you keep if you were the GM?
If I
Who
was the
who
GM,
who are you keeping? Knowing
I'm
all
available.
the
I'm available, Mystics, also because I know y'all got a GM vacancy right now.
You
If
know
anybody,
what? Actually,
okay,
I will be your reference.
period,
Because at this
period.
point, anybody can do it. We try to get Jay on the bench. So, like,
Hey,
just
listen.
saying.
We've been trying to get Jay as a coach somewhere for it's a lot of coaching vacancies. We've been trying to get him somewhere for a long time.
okay, roll the dice. All right, because it's a lot of moving and shuffling going on. Expansion draft. Who am I coring? Well, to start, it's gonna be Ariel, it's gonna be Kira, it's gonna be Brittany Sykes. It's gonna be Aaliyah because I think she wants to be in DC. I think there's just so much potential and so much upside there. But that sixth person. Was that 4 or 5? Hold on. Atkins, Austin,
That was
Edwards, Sykes. That's 4. So, hmm. I like Steph Dolson. I think she brought a level of maturity and calm, frankly, in the chaos that was the Mystics on the offensive end this season. I think defensively, she's like C plus B minus type vibes. But because of everything else they had going on, she could, she could fit. So I'm between her and Samuelson or her and Walker Kimbrough. Because Shatori, I don't know. I think there's, like you said, Jay, there was a dark horse player of the year type run that she had. And you just can't ignore that.
What about?
Everybody else, what about oh
Oh no, finish what you were saying.
the other person that I'm looking at and that it's hard for me to pick in this moment because we only got to see a little bit of her towards the end of the season, Sika Kone. Sika Kone,
that.
she came in and was knocking bitches out the way. Okay? She brought a level of intensity to them on the interior that they needed so bad that they missed because Shakira was in and out. And she's usually that like spark, that kind of, that dog. People who can't see me, I was doing my best stank face. I can't do a stank face real well. I got a lot of cheat going on. But um yeah, that's my thoughts on that. But tough decisions.
Uh,
Okay, so when we did this draft like during like week 6 of the WNBA. We had this conversation, and the people we kept were Shakira, Aaliyah, Brittany, Jade, Emily, and Carly.
Hmm.
Guys, do you hold to that truth? Like, what are we thinking?
This was week 6.
Yeah, this was
Yeah.
like
So
week 5 or 6
yeah.
of the WNBA.
So now that we've gotten a full season, I agree with Misha now. Like um I think her six is more ideal, especially with the context of the Tebow's not being there, and you kind of have to have a core. Like even beginning of the season, I felt like Washington had something that the other teams that we projected to be towards the bottom of the standing. Washington had a defensive identity, which was something those other teams didn't have. It felt like those other teams were searching for something on both ends of the floor, whereas with the Mystics, it was just an offensive thing. So I do think that with you're gonna be bringing in a new GM and a new coach, and you want to have something in place for them to work with.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the group that you picked would be a better pick.
I think it's very hard to go wrong either way, be honest with you. I think it really just depends on if you're really just trying to start from scratch
Mm-hmm.
or if you're like Jay said, like we have this in place and now you just have to work with what we have in place. I do like that idea because I always say I feel like if you're a really good defensive team, I think, or if you're a really good team, I think defense is easier to replicate on a game-to-game basis than offense, just because like if someone else is a really good defense, it's just a lot to work with. However, I think establishing a really good defense is harder than establishing a good offense. Like just getting the connected pieces to do what you want to do on that end of the floor is really hard to start. Um, but we've also already seen like these teams will have a certain type of roster construction and then they'll get a new GM and then that GM will be like, I don't like any of this shit.
Mhm.
And then it's like, whoa, where'd this come from? And I don't know. It just depends on how I guess how the GM would like to structure it. Um, if it was up to me, I'd probably keep majority of it the way it is, just because I feel like you could get offensive pieces to work with what this
Mhm.
defense needs. Really, the first thing I'm getting is some new trainers, if anything. If we go another season and niggas is out 70% of
Oh
games,
no.
one of y'all,
Somebody gotta go.
so one of y'all's fucking me, fucking up my money,
That's
and we're gonna have
funny.
to figure this out.
Yeah. I think that's hilarious. I also think, I can envision a world where there's a little bit of both, right? There's a little bit of they keep the more foundational pieces intact in Brittany Sykes, Shakira, Ariel Atkins, maybe one other, and then maybe leave room because I think those four, if nothing else, they'll help you win a locker room when you got a new GM and you've got a new head coach. They'll help you, you got to get them to buy in, right? And you got to pick the right person to fill that role. But they can give you, hey, we've been here, we've won a title, most of us. Here's what it looks like, no matter what blueprint they give us to get the job done. On the other hand, though, the way that this head coach vacancy bug has bit the entire league, I could see a situation where they bring somebody in who's like, all right, I'm a visionary. I've run a franchise before. We're gonna do this, that, and the third. It's not gonna look nothing like it did before. We're gonna upgrade facilities. We're gonna do this. We're gonna, you know what I mean? And that's not just the GM, that's the entire, organization. But yeah, I see a world where both those things are possible. I think that's the beauty of where we're at in the WNBA, right? We're seeing the whole league kind of be forced to leap to this new level to meet the moment. And I'm just really curious how that looks for DC.
I think if I had to pick six, I think I'd still leave Ariel Atkins out. Like looking at our list,
Ooh,
I
okay.
just feel like Ariel Atkins is a great player, but like having her be the girl, be the one for my franchise.
You think she would be? Because I still see her as supporting cat, like
No, but that's what I mean. I feel like keeping her around just kind of feels like the Mystics kind of holding on to something. And I feel
mm,
like she like it's like I feel like down the stretch, at least like in this past season, the past two seasons, really, like down the stretch is like, okay, Ariel, we need you to do something. Like make the shot, right? And some days she got it. Some. But a lot of the times I feel like she's just so chaotic, and I feel like if I'm a if I'm a coach, I might rock the young core like Aaliyah, Shakira. Um, I really do like Jade. Um, I really do like Jade a lot. I think we should have seen it. I mean, she's still super young, but I feel like we should have saw a lot more of her. Um, and I feel like if she's able to be beside someone like Brittany, excuse me, that it'll work out better. Um, and even getting Sika and uh I think I might keep Steph too, honestly. Like she just felt so like interchangeable. Um just because I feel like to give them kind of you have your bigs because I feel like that's a little bit harder to come by in the W. Um Everybody got combo guard. So we can get one of them from somewhere. I don't know. I just feel like they kind of need a change and like I don't know. I don't want to keep relying on Ariel Atkins. Like I can't keep putting my money on her. I'm sorry. She's great, but I cannot keep putting my money on her.
I think we're also a little biased because we be calling her Michael Bridges. Uh,
You call her Michael Bridges. Let's be clear.
I'm done with y'all.
because no matter who was on the court with her, she getting that 15, 16 points.
What?
Whether it be the whole roster healthy or she the only person there. Ariel Atkins is getting 15.
Yeah, that's funny.
But
What do we think about? Oh, go ahead. Go
no,
ahead.
I was just gonna say, but see, I agree. I agree with that. But like as a supporting piece, I think that can work. Like like she can't be the offensive focal point, which is fine. But I think as a connector or you kicking if you driving and kicking, you kicking it to somebody who you know is gonna knock it down. So I feel like that's something to have.
Yeah. My question is, why did none of us say Julie Van Loo? Except I think I said in my runoff Julie Van Loo, but I don't think she was one of my
That's what I
six.
was
What do we think?
when you were listing your five, that's what I was gonna ask you about, like Julie Van Loo or Melbourne. Because I know you were talking about having a not having the best point guard rotation, and that is kind of
Mm,
your point guard rotation.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah. I
I
mean,
think. Oh, go ahead.
I like Van. If I gotta pick between the two, I'm picking Van Loo. Um, if I have to pick between the two, I'm picking her. And it's because Jay, like you said, Jade is young. And I think for what's coming down the pike at this franchise next season, you're gonna need somebody who's a little bit more battle tested. And even though Van Loo, this was her rookie year. Yeah, she was a rookie this year in the
Right.
WNBA, but she's had all the international experience, right? We saw her on the world stage at the Olympics with Belgium and what she's really capable of when she's got, the green light. So if I got to pick between the two of them, I'm picking Van Loo, but you need somebody else who can come in and be steady at the position. Whether they play in front of her or behind her, depends on who you get. But yeah, I rock with her, even though she's not in my six.
I
it'd
like.
be
I
like
mean,
that.
yeah. I like Julie. I actually was like really rooting for Julie like really early in the season. Um, because but I feel like as the season progressed, her game got more and more chaotic. And I was like, sister, I need you to breathe. Like, I don't know what you got going on over there, but you gotta calm down. But I do appreciate that, like you said, I mean, she's a little bit older, even though like being a rookie, so she's adjusting to what the W looks like. Um, and I also love that she is not afraid to take a shot. Like, and I feel like that was a thing that the Mystics really struggle with, like trying to move the ball. Like, if the shot clock was running down, Julie was gonna shoot that bitch. She don't care if she's 30 feet out, a defender in her face, like she about to travel, she will heave that motherfucker. And I'm like, all right, sister, if you could just think about the shot a little bit more, we could be working with something. But it just felt so chaotic. And I feel like to your point, like if they think a little bit more about the offense and have like more like dedicated plays and like things like that, I think a lot of that could be cleaned up. But I do like Jade. I'm a little biased because she was on Seattle last season and they were kind of like the Seattle rookies plus Jewel Lloyd like have a really special place in my heart. Um, and I just like really love what I've seen. But I do think she obviously needs to be in a place where like they have to grow. Like she has to have an opportunity to get the reps in. And if the Mystics are gonna be bad, why not? Why not? Well,
So, we talked about the expansion draft protection. We talked about things like, what we liked about the roster, we didn't like about the roster. Also around the corner, obviously with the NCAA season, that means there's going to be some rookies on the way. What who are some rookies that you would love to see on the Mystics? I think y'all pick is probably, if I'm looking at this mock draft, I see one where y'all are at like 4.
Hmm
Um, I
I've seen 4
see.
and 6. I've seen what else have I seen? Mostly 4 and 6.
Oh, because y'all have our pick. That's right.
Hmm
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
That's
That that that
Oh man.
that love that
Um
that I love that sound. It's so sad.
I've never seen somebody more depressed about that. It's
Oh,
guys.
yeah. There's a lot of folks who are gonna come out of this draft and just if we thought this season was the rookie royale, let's wait till 2025. It's about to be nuts. But if I gotta look at folks who are gonna come out that would fit the Mystics, I'm looking at Olivia Miles. We just talked about point guards. We just talked about point guards. You want a point guard? Olivia Miles is that girl. I think this is about to be a crazy season for her for Notre Dame. And I think if she wanted to, that's hers. Like if the Mystics picked her, that spot is hers. Julie Van Loo plays behind her, plays with her. I don't care. I don't care. Put her on the roster. So her, and then the girl who been at every Mystics game, more Mystics games than I have in the last 3 years, AZ Fudd. I think she wants to be a Mystic, which if nothing else, like that means she's coming in. And most rookies, that's what you try to do. You come in, you're a sponge, you listen to your vets, yada yada yada. But having pride in the place that you're playing behind all that, oh, it takes you to another level. And with her and the injuries she's dealt with and just the tumultuous nature of her career to this point, like I want to see her in a situation that suits her, and I think DC is one that suits her as well. If that were to happen, then I do think you gotta let go of either Ariel or one of those combo, um, kind of players. Because AZ is how tall is she? 5'10"? Yeah, so she's right there,
Yeah,
kind of the same prototype as them. But those are two players I've got my eyes on for sure.
yeah, I think if y'all are like, even if y'all are picking at 4, I feel like one of them is gonna be there.
Yeah,
So
somebody's
I
gonna be
feel like you
available.
you kind of you kind of in a good spot, even if lottery luck isn't on y'all side and y'all don't move up, or I feel like at 4 you'll be able to get you'll be able to get a valuable piece to add.
Yeah.
Like
So
I'm looking at this monitor I'm looking at from Tankathon. It has y'all taking Olivia Miles at 4 and Sonia Citron at 6.
Okay. I've also seen some folks say uh Shyanne Sellers from Maryland would be good. Also, not necessarily homegrown, but close enough. Personally, personally, I'm not fully drinking the Kool-Aid on her just yet. Not just yet. She's done some things that have been impressive. I want to see what this season looks like. Cause not just her, Maryland to me, I want to see more. Um, but yeah, I don't know. A lot of
I
options.
I I agree with that. Maryland, if Maryland is not a top 15 team,
Yo.
render you're cooked. You're done.
And
I'm
I hate
coming
to
down.
say it. I hate to say it because I grew up a Maryland fan. Me and Kristi Toliver, that was my favorite player. To this day, that's you can't tell me nothing. You can't tell me nothing. But yeah, if they don't figure it out,
And
mm,
because they literally have like, oh, and I do mean all the pieces, like every last one of them. Like every problem she had in the previous years is solved. You got some rebounding, you got some shooting, you got some bigs. I don't want to hear anything, Brenda. Like I need to see the results. To the Cheyenne Sellers point, I like Cheyenne a lot, but she's she has the same problem that Diamond Miller had in the sense that like they just be doing anything. Like they look, they have the talent. You know, they're very talented players, but like she get in there and just it's like her mind be moving her mind be moving faster than her body sometimes. And it's like, sister, just take a deep breath. Remember that you are not playing 1v5. Like you got somebody else out there that can do a little something for you. So I will say, like, I think that will really be a good test for her this season because again, you have Bree, you have Christina Dawsey, you got fucking Kaylin Smile. You have so many people that like were the tops. They were carrying their programs on their back, and now they're here. So that means you don't have to carry the program on your back. You really shouldn't have been doing that in the first place, but
Yeah.
we gonna let you have it. We let you have it, but don't do that shit no more. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. Um, so we'll see. But I feel like if she could clean that up, like I feel like I wouldn't hate her on the Mystics. I've seen other people say Rory Harmon, which another like small guard, but I feel like she is also a really good point guard and like she kind of plays well with a big. So she could be, I think, a really fun pickup.
I seen Tahina Pow Pow earlier.
Would be great.
Now, see, that's one I'm not sold on. I love Tahina. As somebody who literally, when she went from Oregon to South Carolina, immediately I was like, yeah, we're going to get the Tahina we deserve. But I just don't know. At the WNBA level, playing point guard, most likely, I don't know about the playmaking. I don't know about the playmaking. I don't know about the I go on Erica Ayala's Gotta Get Up podcast for New York Liberty fans every once in a while, and we talk about Sabrina being unquick. She wasn't this season, not as much. I'll give her that. But to me, I have the same issue with Tahina Pow Pow moving from college to the W level. I think she'll figure it out, but I don't know if it's a fit for the defensive kind of point guard that the Mystics, I think, maybe need. I do think another PG is Georgia Amoore. If you grab her though, you got to get Van Loo up out of there. Because to me, in the W, you got to have one of the traditional point guard and one of a Sab or a Caitlin or a Chelsea Gray type that's bigger in stature, that's a little bit longer, that can still defend but can still play make at the level that you need them to. But yes,
I would love to see Tahina as like a shooting guard. Because I don't think she's a bad playmaker at all. But I feel like she seems much more like rattled when she has to play. When she has to play make that's not like a pick and roll. Like if we could do something other than pick and roll, cool. But like, and most of the times I feel like, I don't know, you never know what offense you're gonna get. But see, Georgia Amoore is one that I'm not sold on.
Ooh, tell me why.
Just, when I watched her, I think I think she has the tools to be like a very solid PG, right? Like she can play. I'm not a Liz Kelly fan. I'm actually Liz Kelly's biggest hater. But they play well together. They play well together. I gotta give them that. And I feel like Amoore has like a grit to her that's like, okay, like I'm gonna go get it. But I feel like what I felt like in the tournament, in the last year's tournament, I just felt like when the going got tough and they didn't have Kitley out there, she just looked crazy. Like, and she kind of had to look crazy because they didn't really have no other options. But it's like, I need your like decision making to be so much better. And like, you can't just be taking step back three. Like, if you ain't got that, sister, what else are you going to do? Right?
I can see the game you're talking about in my brain because
because if you watch it, you know exactly what it was. And I don't know. I feel like at the next level, like it's gonna be so much more pressure, right? Like you got to kind of get it together. Like, and if you can't get right with them, you're not getting right with them. I don't know. You're not, and maybe I'm gonna watch her this season because she is gonna be in Kentucky and they're in SEC now, and so if she might can show me some. She might can show me some during conference play. But I don't know. I'm not. I like the talent, but she gonna have to show me something because I'm like,
You don't think if there were more pieces around her, she would set that shit off? Because to me, I think that's why she was doing all that crazy shit in that one game in the tournament. I think that's exact because they literally had nobody else to turn to. They made their bread and butter was Kitley, Amoore to Kitley. Like
to be
Kenny
fair,
Brooks.
to be fair, Kenny Brooks is going to hell because he let Clara Strack sit on that bitch, and she got in that game and put them on her back. So he's going to hell. But I mean, but to be fair, like maybe that's a Kenny Brooks offense thing, you know?
Exactly.
Like I don't know what to do because he told me that I gotta carry now. But like, sister, don't ever do that again. I never want to see her play like that ever again. Like, cut the TV, cut the cameras.
Cut the cameras.
Because that was not cute. I was like, sister. But I feel like a lot of people are high on her. And for her to be a 5'6" guard, for so many people to be high on her, I'm kind of like, I'm gonna give you a chance, but you really gonna have to show me something because it's looking a little suspicious. It's looking a little suspicious. Okay.
It's funny you mentioned Georgia Amoore's decision making in those moments, and when you mentioned it was after you mentioned Tahina, how you felt like you'd like to see her as a two guard, and
Mm-hmm.
I kind of feel like those two go hand in hand because if Tahina's not handling the ball, you kind of feel more comfortable with her coming off screens, spotting up because you're like, I trust her to shoot more so than I trust her to be a quick decision maker as a playmaker. So, like, if a team was drafting Tahina Power saying, okay, well, we'll get her involved in off ball movement, I can see the value in that. But as a primary ball handler, like Misha said, you kind of I'm not so sure if I trust her to process defenses at the next level. The way that because that's a pretty big jump. I feel like the learning curve for guards is is pretty steep.
Yeah.
So there you if you do that, you kind of you have to commit to growing with her, basically.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like my only edge with Tahina is that like she plays in a system where everybody's good. You know what I'm saying? Like
Exactly.
everybody's like, so she knows like if she get a little too hectic, like it don't matter who I get a ball to, like they can make something shake. And I feel like that's something like at the next level, everybody is competent, right? Everybody's competent. It matters, you know, putting people in a position that does matter. But I think that's something you can kind of get a little bit away with it a little bit more than a Georgia. But I agree. I would definitely want her to be a I would definitely trust her more as a shooting guard than a PG off rip.
That's tough though, because she 5'9".
Yeah, that's
I
I was thinking that
know.
too.
That's
But
so
see, this is
tough.
so my thing is my thinking, right? And I'm about to like agendas will be pushed right now. We need to get smaller as basketball has to get smaller. Okay. No, look, the 6'2s are centers. Okay. The 6'2 girls need to be centers. 5'8" small forwards. You know what I'm saying? Get
Oh,
small.
now how that work?
Janae is trying to get a contract. That's what she's trying to do.
I will not actually, but you know, we can get the 5'3" girls at the PG. It works. We just need to focus on making it smaller because shit is getting bigger and it's not getting better. You know what I'm saying? I feel like if we just back up a little bit, and it could work. It could work. I mean, everybody got
Regress a little
What
bit.
but it could work.
what if what if what if you pair a 5'9" shooting guard with a 6 foot point guard? I feel like you can make that work a little bit better.
You can make that work on the defensive end for sure. But I guess my concern comes back to what you just said in terms of like the league is big.
Yeah.
You know
But
what I
that's
mean?
the problem.
Even if
You
you
know,
do have a 6 foot, if your backcourt is a 6 foot point guard, a 5'9" shooting guard, and let's say for the shits and gigs, a three small forward that's 5'10".
Yeah,
Every
that's a
lineup,
small team.
every
Yeah.
lineup in the WNBA has that or taller, that or longer, that or more athletic. Like it, you gotta have some. Yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that. It's tough.
I think the Sab is 5'11", and how tall is Jalen Sherrod?
Jalen is 5'6".
She a
Is
little
he?
bitty thing. I
He's
think she
5'7".
5'8".
And that works. Like that worked.
Now,
Now walk with me now.
now.
Hold on. That worked. That game, it was in Chicago.
The one game,
Was it Chicago?
the
Come
single
on.
game.
Well, Jalen ain't getting no more tick. And don't get me on my Sandy Brondello. I'm not gonna cook her today.
That lady just won a championship.
Oh, I still have thoughts.
Yeah,
I still have
yeah,
thoughts. Don't,
she's not safe.
don't you worry. I got shit to think. I'm not gonna be on her head though, because I got her. I whacked her last week. I'm gonna let her have it. But Sav and Jalen works when they play Chicago. Like it works. Like it works. Like
Fuck it.
we see the material.
Let's go ahead. Let's get a 6'2" point guard and a 5'8" center. Let's switch.
Really mix it up.
Let's really get active. Let's really get when Juju get in and she the 6'2" point guard. Let's go ahead and find somebody 5'8" that's really like banging on that block.
Okay, well, we won't do that because I won't let Asia. That would be disrespectful. Like Asia Wilson, you will not hurt my center, my 5'8" center. Um,
Listen, let me tell it.
but we
No,
like come
let
on,
me
like
tell it. Nafisa is gonna get smaller and smaller as I talk about her because she already 6'1". Next year when I talk about
exactly.
her, I'm gonna be like, damn. I'm gonna be like, Fee really is playing the center position at 5'11", and it's just gonna progressively get shorter.
But look, Fee is 6'1" and she's my forward. Like she's an anomaly, but we could work something. We could work something. I'm saying.
Fee is Charles Barkley.
Bro, she
Ooh.
she got like a 7 foot wingspan or something
Yeah, she
stupid.
does.
Um, but seriously though, I do think that like I just hate the big guard movement. I just really because it's like they're getting bigger, but they're not getting better. Like you're not getting more like the IQ don't be there. It's
I
like sister, just be a wing. You don't have to carry the ball. Just get on the wing.
you were a wing when you came out of high school anyway. So
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
just keep you
exactly,
there.
exactly. You didn't have to
Yeah.
do that. So just go ahead and get back on there. We got it.
That portion of this insane diatribe, I can agree with. That portion of it, big guards, I think there are exceptions, right? There are big guards who actually make it work, as the aforementioned Sabrinas and Caitlins and Chelsea Grays.
Yeah.
But I was listening to Sue Bird and Meg Rapinoe's little clips of their podcast, and Sue was talking about as she was watching the finals, the one thing she thought both teams were missing was a real traditional point guard. Um, and I think that points exactly to what you're saying. I think that coaches have gotten so caught up in the allure of having a big guard to say, "Oh, look at what we're doing. We're being different. without recognizing like that person needs to be able to tell you coming up the floor with pressure in their face what defense the defense is in and who they need to get the ball to. And if there's a mismatch in the first 5 seconds, they need to get the ball to the right person. Like there's all these calculations that need to be happening that sometimes I feel like are not happening. And Subert also mentioned a lot of those things in that clip that I watched. And that's why I agree with you on the big guard front, especially as it pertains to point guards. Like I said, there are exceptions on both levels, college and professional. I think um, that's part of why I'm still very high on Olivia Miles potentially going to the Mystics, because I think you want to talk IQ, it's not just about the flashy passes with her, right? It's about who needs to score, when they need to score, what are they trying to do to us? I watched, not last season, but the season before, her and Neil Ivy. You can tell when point guards are really tapped in and they know what's going on. When they're not looking to the bench, okay, what do we need to get in? Like they know what's happening and they have a finger on the pulse of the ebbs and flow of a game. But yeah, I'll agree with you on that last point. That very last point. Yes. Yes.
Well, I
The
must. Oh,
Lord.
go ahead, May.
No, I'm just saying the agenda, it'll happen. Like it's gonna be a thing.
Push your agenda, Jermaine. Push your agenda.
It's gonna happen. But go ahead.
We all got some insane agendas that we push, so I get it. I definitely get it. Um, as we all know, with the coaching carousel going on in the league right now, do you have any ideal coaching candidates for the Mystics?
Give me a black person. That's all I'm gonna say about that. It's not a dig at the Tebows whatsoever because I have enjoyed, their tenure and their era. Um, but I say that because it feels like for a city as vibrant as DC, it feels like that connection is still lacking between the community and the team. And I don't necessarily think hiring a black head coach is the only thing that matters in that, obviously, but I do think it's a part of it. It was part of why I was so pissed off when Chicago laid Teaspoon off because I thought she was a perfect fit, not only for the players on that roster, but you want somebody who symbolizes the city. And I think she symbolized the grit and the toughness of Chicago as a city. I think she fit. There were fans all over Twitter when that news dropped that were like, "Oh my gosh, I started watching the sky again because of Teaspoon." This, that, and the third. And so actually that's kind of a huge consideration for me for whoever they bring in next. And I would love, I would love if Kristi Toliver would leave Nate Tibbetts out to dry. They come back to DC, but the likelihood of that, I'm not sure how likely that's going to be. But the other person I'm looking at, and I don't know how feasible this is because if I'm not mistaken, she just got a different gig in the NBA, but Lindsey
Briann.
Harding.
Oh, really?
I've been waiting for her to make her jump back to the W a la Becky Hammon for a little minute now. And it might not be this coming season because, like I said, I do believe she did just pick up a gig, and I hate that I'm blanking on what it is.
Yeah, she's
She's
the
on JJ's bench.
she's the Lakers assistant coach.
Yeah, Lakers assistant coach with JJ and them. Yep. Yeah. Yeah.
Actually, you know what? Continue. I'm not gonna whack. I'm gonna do it.
I kind of want you to. I don't know. I kind of want to hear this now that I know how you come in.
The
I
floor
kind of
is
want to know.
yours.
No, because
Let it out.
criminal behavior. Okay, criminal behavior. That what he said in that presser that I said the other day. That one's on me. That
Oh,
one's
yes.
I gotta be better. You ain't think about that when you was watching that game?
You talking about JJ Redick?
Yeah,
Yes.
JJ did
In
say
the
that.
presser, he was like, yeah, that one's on me. I gotta be better. Nigga, duh, but like, why the fuck is you telling us that? Like, what suggestion you gonna make?
I will say, to be fair,
Hello?
I feel like to the press as a coach, you're supposed to say it's your fault, and then you go in the locker room and be like,
It's
y'all
y'all fault.
was fucking tripping. Like I just feel like
Yeah,
that's
go.
like I think especially like as a star, like that's what stars do. Like I know Jokic went in one of them pressers after they lost to, I think like Brooklyn or something, and he was like, "Yeah, I got to be better," knowing damn well that nigga ain't do nothing wrong. It's just like I just feel like what this what you do as the face of a team. It's like, yeah, I was kind of tripping, and then y'all get into practice and be like, "Listen, if y'all niggas do me like that, a fucking again, I swear to
No, but he's getting whacked because that's what they hired you for. We don't give a fuck if you take accountability. It was already your fault. You was watching. Did you not watch the film? Like, where were the adjustments? Was you watching the game like we was or no? Like, what's T? And for that, for Lindsey Harden and Kristi Toliver, for both of them to be behind men who I know apparently the girl dad, he
Native.
yeah, apparently he coached in the G League. I don't I don't I don't give a fuck about that personally. I don't give a fuck about that. You the highest paid coach and your team barely made the playoffs. Kristi Toliver, let's go, sister. Pack your bags. Pack your bags. Because you got to get out of there. You got to get out of there. And Lindsey Harden, like, didn't her like G League team just win like the championship or some
Yep.
shit? And
yes,
you got to go sit behind JJ Redick, who ain't never coached a day in his life.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, y'all are all going to prison as a group. Lock it up. Put your hands out, cause jail. Like, what are we talking about? And so, but honestly, she's been a person that like we've been saying like I thought she was gonna be the Valkyries coach. I was like, they gotta give her a call. Like they gotta be like, we just saw her fantastic run. Like we know she can make some a little shake, you know. So I thought she was gonna be pulled off of JJ bench. And if it's a money issue, like open your purse. Open your
Mm-hmm.
purse. Like
these teams have got to start circle betting that cap. Y'all,
That
y'all,
cap need to go up. Damn it.
It
That's what need
does.
to happen.
It does.
it need to go up, but also y'all gotta start paying people under the table. What's going
No,
on?
because if you no, because the NWSL look crazy right now because they got
Yeah.
teams in there trying to do that to get the top international talent. I'm like, it's tough that you have to wait for the system to catch up to where the game is, but that's the sad facts of the matter. But
All I
as you
know is
were,
the Aces got two championships out of moving
yeah,
you need
money.
to stop saying that. That is why the people always in hell.
Listen,
but you got me thinking though about folks in other spheres right now that could make that leap back to the W. And let's not forget that during the finals or sometime during the WNBA postseason, the ESPN WNBA countdown crew made a little pitch for Carolyn Peck.
They did.
And listen here. I don't know how much Miss Carolyn would like DC. I know she's a wonderful Southern gal, but she's got the ability to. Some people thought her little Peck talks were corny. I love them. Personally, I was standing in front of the TV for most of them. Personally, that shit works for me. And I think, I think she should get a shot. I think she should get a shot. She's proven she's dedicated to the game. She knows the entire league like the back of her hand from covering it for, however long. And she's well respected. She's well respected, and I think she could command the attention of a locker room of professionals. Um, but who
Yeah.
knows?
Another name that I thought you were gonna mention was was Briann January,
Mm-hmm.
who she was the assistant coach with Connecticut, and I think she just took a
A
G
damn G
League
League job.
assistant
What
a
the
G
fuck
League
they paying in the
assistant
G League?
job. See, and here's the thing. So we talked about it when it first came out, and I think the G League playoffs ends around the time the WNBA draft starts. I think the G League playoffs ends around that time. I feel like that might be a little tight. Like that might be a next year type thing for her. But I'd like to see her get a head coaching job at some point.
I love Briann. I thought the Sun would just like promote her. Um, I mean, I guess they still could, but Yeah, I didn't know what the G League paying though, because like, why are y'all getting all this talent? Like, what they saying? Or like, what's the perks? I need to see the contracts because everybody just going over there and just like, oh, we'll do this. Like, is there something that I need to know about?
Part of me feels, and I am purely speculating, right? I have no facts that point to this whatsoever, but as a possibility, I'm wondering, based on what we've seen from the owners across the league making rash decisions, like again, I'm never gonna stop talking about the fact that Chicago just fired Teresa Weatherspoon. Um, but it feels like there's with this influx of money, influx of popularity, moving to the next tier in terms of how many eyes are on the game. Like, I'm hoping that these owners and teams and franchises aren't telling folks behind the scenes, if you don't have experience in the NBA, if you don't have experience with those kind of franchises and organizations, which, if I'm being quite honest, a lot of them have a lot more infrastructure than the WNBA franchises and organizations. But I'm hoping that that's not the underlying message that people like Briann January are getting, is you need to go have that experience before we can take you seriously here. Because you look at Becky right now, her and Cheryl Reeve, I think, are the two coaches that most franchises organizations would love to have running their ships. Becky, where'd she come from? She came from the NBA. Cheryl's been around long enough that she's just kind of, she's going to be there. She's foundational to the league. But I hope that they're not looking at the blueprint that Becky laid and being like, okay, we're only hiring coaches who've taken this or a similar route. Again, speculation. Don't know that to be true, but just hoping that that's not the case, because that would be, once again, a way of delegitimizing the game that we all know is perfectly legitimate without the MNBA getting involved too much.
I do think though, like that, I do think that is I would back that theory because I think the other problem too, though, with like the organizations is that like they don't have realistic timelines.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's like it's almost like that people don't recognize the idea that like somebody has to lose. You know what I'm saying? Like there's only one WNBA champion. And frankly, can't be all of us. You know what I'm saying? They don't give out ties. Everybody not getting a badge at the end. So there's 1 through 12, 1 through 13, whatever. And it's just like I just feel completely like these places do not have plans. Like the Sparks. The Sparks don't piss me off. Y'all were the first people to lose y'all coach. Why y'all ain't feeling position yet? Like you fired Kurt for what? To do what? Like what was your plan? Like what was you thinking? Like why has Chicago got a coach before you? Like what was your plan? You know what I'm saying? Like
The plan was, let's shake it up, and then they spun a wheel and it landed on Fire Kurt. I think that's what happened.
it honestly that's what it feels like. It was like, today's Fire Kurt Day. And tomorrow we'll start thinking about next steps. And I'm like, y'all already stayed. Y'all about to get the number 2 pick. Like, what's the plan? Let's plan a little bit. Like, let's think about what we got going on here. And I mean, to be fair, I did not think Kurt was the right coach for them. So I'm not super upset about the firing. But again, like you look crazy for you to fire your head coach, and then it's been damn near a month and a half, and y'all ain't. We haven't even seen a single article about y'all talking to nobody. So like that is even more of an issue. Like we can't even start rumors. Y'all ain't got shit. Like y'all don't got shit going on, and that's it doesn't. This is just deeply unprofessional. It's just deeply unprofessional and like embarrassing. So I don't know. I think the franchise need to be a little bit more realistic with the idea of like you cannot win now. Like everybody can't win now. It's just really not even enough talent for everybody to win now. Like the way this hard cap work and the way you got to hit so many players, like the stipulations in place, everybody can win now. And as we saw, like even as teams try to build to win now, first year gonna stink. Like it don't matter who you get. You know what I'm saying? You had the Liberty. They was a second seed, but they looked crazy. You got Seattle. They look crazy. Like I mean, the Mercury. They look crazy. And this
The
is
Mercury
all.
just stink.
I'm not gonna whack them. But you like even in your first year, these people always look crazy. So it's really not you winning in year one is literally like a fever dream. You're not. It's not gonna happen, Bookie. If it does, you might get a nice bonus, but that's it. Like nothing else is gonna come from you winning the first year. Like now your expectations are through the roof. Can you maintain? Probably not. So you're gonna be back to where you started. Like
It was like when the Sky when they fired Teaspoon, people were like, oh, well, they went 13-27. But going into the season, most of us didn't even have them winning that much.
Mm-hmm.
Like this was a young team of a bunch of building blocks. And it felt like this was going to be a rebuilding season trying to establish an identity, what your team was going to look like. And they ended up in the playoff hunt down the stretch. And that was something that nobody expected of them when the season started. So that's why it was such a big shock for them to fire the coach because you felt like they were ahead of schedule already.
Yeah. And not to mention, Spoon and the crew did that after they lost a player who went to the WNBA finals in Courtney Williams, after they lost Kalia Copper, who, regardless of your feelings about whether she's streaky or take crazy shots, she's a hooper who can go get you a bucket whenever she wants to go get you a bucket. Like you lost Elizabeth Williams, okay, who I think is one of the most understated players in the WNBA. It's not like Teaspoon was walking into a loaded roster and knew exactly where to go. Like, no. You lose Marina Mabry in the middle of the season. Like, she got thrown curveball after curveball after curveball. Camilla being out for a large portion of the season, expecting her to come in and make a huge impact as a rookie. I just, if you can't tell, I'm still very hurt.
Yeah,
We all are.
it really didn't make any sense to me. And that's not like I think Tyler Marsh is gonna do a great job.
Oh
But
yeah.
it was just odd to me for them to let her go so quickly.
This is also how I feel about them letting Latricia Trammel go. Because
Oh, please, too soon.
it's like
Way too soon.
it's like
I'm
I
not
understand.
ready to talk about this. I'm
okay,
not ready
but
to talk about this.
would you want LT? I know we just said we would like a black person in DC, but would you take LT in Washington? I kind of like it. I don't know. She kind of got. I know people be hating on her because they be like she could have did more with Kalani and Big T, but I feel like she actually got a lot out of them. And I feel like she could. You know what I'm saying? She can take Aaliyah Edwards to the next level. I don't know. Shakira Austin next level. I don't know. I
I
feel
would take it as a consolation prize. Okay.
valid.
I would
Valid.
take it as a consolation prize if they don't get. Yeah, I
A
do
black
like her
person.
as a coach. I really like her. If they don't put nah, I do like her. I do like her as a coach. I think she would be a fit. I think her defensive, yeah, I think her defensive chops would fit the culture that's already been established in DC. So it wouldn't be a bad hire by any means. I'm still processing that too. I just I'm real curious. All these organizations acting like they know exactly what they do. I'm curious to see if y'all know what you're doing. I'm very curious. Very
And
curious.
like Jamae said earlier, the thing is, a lot of these organizations don't realize all y'all not supposed to win. Some of y'all are gonna like, even with the talent so like concentrated because it's not a lot of teams. it's just inevitable that some team has to be bad and some teams have to be good, or some teams are going to overperform and some teams are going to underperform. So these teams will underperform or be bad in one season and they're not used to it. And so they'll be like, we got to scrap the whole thing. And it's like, actually, you really don't have to do that. You could just try again next year and just add some complementary pieces and then see what happens from there before you scrap it. Like it just doesn't, it just,
It makes you wonder if, I mean, you know how people always ask, do you have a 5-year plan? All that kind of stuff. I'm around the age where now everybody's asking me that shit. And I'm like, please, I don't even have a plan for what I'm eating today. All right. But
that's
I
how these
wonder,
organizations are.
yes, these organizations, it seems like nobody is looking at the future. Like when you hire a coach, to me, I would hope you're looking at the next 3 seasons, 2 or 3 seasons. What is possible? What kind of players you want to target for the system that this coach likes to run. Like, it's got to be investment. If you don't have investment, if you're just flying by the seat of your pants and you're putting a different person in that seat every other season, you're never going to build anything, right? That's like you trying to build a building, you got a new foreman every Tuesday. What? Don't nobody know who to report to. It's chaos.
We talk about this a lot, and like to relate this to the NBA, I always mention how like Devin Booker had like 7 coaches in like 6 seasons or something like that,
Oh, yeah.
and
Mm-mm.
it's like whether the coach was bad or not, if the player never gets used to anything, how is he gonna grow into anything at all? It's like DeMarcus Cousins, same thing, and they got a different coach like every year. It's like we can't. What can we expect them to learn and adapt to if they're always having something new? It may be controversial in general. It's not necessarily controversial on the pod with us, but like controversial in general. I don't really think Kristi should have been fired because
Oh, absolutely not.
we knew at the beginning of the season they weren't gonna be like some upper echelon team, and they struggled in the beginning, and it was like, okay, they're gonna have growing pains, and then they end up figuring things out along the way, and they lost to a really good Connecticut Sun team. Like it's okay to lose to Alyssa Thomas and
It's okay to
Demar.
lose to a team that is better than your
It's
team.
okay. Like it's like every time the Fever lost, it was like Kristi Size is the worst coach I've ever seen. But when they won, it was like, nah, Caitlin's phenomenal. It's
Yeah.
like what credit does she get for adapting over the season and figuring out what works for her team, and like because everything can't be her fault. Like just it just doesn't make sense for everything to be her fault and for her to not get any of the praise when things work out. I don't it's not really fair. So yeah. I kind of feel bad for coaches, especially this season, because when things go right, things will get the players will get credit, and then when things go wrong, you are the first person that everybody look at. It's like
That come with the territory though. That does come with the territory. I think she
yeah.
was in a very specific situation where if they lost, it was her fault, and if they won, it was thanks to Caitlyn. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
she was really in a situation where it didn't matter what plays she had them run, what lineup she put in there that might have changed the tone of the game. Like it didn't matter at all. But I think with Indiana and with Chicago, both teams are lucky that they pick somebody good to fill that spot, because otherwise the optics on this would still look so terrible. I do
Yeah.
think Stephanie White is a fantastic fit for that franchise in Indiana. Um, I do just wonder if, because Indiana's, I'm gonna go ahead and say this: Indiana not winning a championship next year, and I feel like this is the home run swing and hope
Oh,
that Steph
no, no,
White
no.
leads them to a championship. This
They think they are. They think they are. As the resident Fever fan, I was watching the post game, the not post game, the fucking introductory picture, and she was like, "We wanted to pick a coach that was proven." I was like, "Proven to do what?" She won as an
losing the
assistant
semis,
coach.
losing the finals.
Don't piss me off. Don't piss me off. And everybody is like, we need to capitalize on this moment. What moment? Kaylin Clark is 22. Aaliyah Boston is 23. Where are they going?
Nothing
Like,
but
let's make
time.
that up. Where are they going? That's, we got cap space. We got the money. You know, Erica Wheeler. Bye, girl. I mean, no shade my sister, but bye, girl. Like, or you can stay if you take a minimum. But
Minimum.
what we doing? What we doing? I
Listen,
mean,
The side eye is crazy.
what we doing? What
If you
the
take a minimum.
the fever said global warming on the way. We got to win before the Earth go bad.
Oh
we
my
doing? It
It's
goodness.
not
won't. Well,
it's not
they
even
gotta
about
wait till 2030 because
it's not even about the
it's
contracts. They was like, yep, it's 80 degrees right now. It's not supposed to be 80 degrees. We gotta get it. We gotta win this now before it's too
Mm.
late.
because I mean, not to get on my fever soapbox, but it's like, what free agents y'all think gonna come to Indiana?
Yeah. And
Like,
that's kind of a question I have about sides too, because again, I still don't really agree with the firing, but I wonder if it was something happening, and maybe you have insight into this, Janae, but like, was there anything happening behind the scenes? Because I know Nalissa wasn't really happy. I know there's just
I think this is my pure speculation. On one hand, I think Kristi Sires expected more from Nalissa. I think the expectation between the two of them is just a little off because it's like before Caitlyn got here, Nalissa, Aaliyah, Kelsey, they the prize, right? Like this is who we focus on. This is who we run through. Now Caitlyn's here, and Nalissa kind of becomes a side story, right? And that just means she can't be. She doesn't have the leash anymore to be lackadaisical. Like she just can't come in there and just do whatever she wants because now your ass is going to the bench because we got somebody else who gonna try. You know what I'm
Emmy
saying?
Fact Benley.
You don't have she gonna get out there and run and even if she don't make a fucking layup, she gonna run. You know what I'm saying? She gonna get the rebound. She gonna do something for us that you are not doing. Which I feel bad for. I feel bad for Nalissa because I do like her and I do think she plays well with Aaliyah. And even I saw the minutes with her. In fact, Bentley playing together. They look great. But I think the other thing was like the pressure to win now. Like I feel like when they drafted Caitlyn, they were like, oh, okay, like they drafted Caitlyn and they were like, oh, we all can be a 6 seed. Okay, we can be a 1 seed. Like once they saw this could look good, I think they were like, okay, we got to commit to this now. And it's like, you're not committing to that with this roster. You know what I'm saying? Until Aaliyah's my girl. You know what I'm saying? I ride down for her. But until Aaliyah is the big dog in the paint, y'all cooked. She not the big dog yet. You know what I'm saying? She gotta go. She gotta go through Asia. You know what I'm saying? She gotta get fee in there. Like she got some steps to achieve before she can really y'all can really make this move. And Kaylin too. Like she got some things that she needs to do before we can move forward. And like yeah, I just think they were like I think they're jumping the gun. And I mean I don't know what Stephanie White happened in Connecticut. Maybe they really did want to blow it up, and she was like, "I'm getting the hell out of here. I'm not starting over."
Well, that roster, I mean, it's a hell of a lot of free agents on that roster.
Yeah.
They're not gonna look the same next year. So I think, the writing was on the wall, at least for her.
Just think they shouldn't have blown it up. I mean,
What else they gonna do? They've been to the finals 50-11 times and they won
okay,
none.
but they didn't have Marina Mabry before that. You know what I'm saying? I
But
just
what
feel
happened when they
like
had Marina Mabry, fam?
not to get on my
Sister.
Connecticut Sun soapbox, okay? But they didn't have Marina Mabry before, and I feel like they got Marina Mabry. If they could just get rid of Astu, who didn't, yeah, Astu, she didn't play a minute, okay? She didn't play.
Oh yeah.
If they can get somebody else, you know what I'm saying? Let's maybe give Queen Egbo another chance. You know what I'm saying?
Somebody need to give her another chance.
Anybody. It don't even matter. Just get somebody who gonna put you, give you a little 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. I'm just saying they were this close. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, Natasha Howard, she's available.
Oof, yeah.
I'm just saying they had more opportunity. You know what I'm saying? Steph really could have showed us some. Just saying.
They gotta
But
blow it.
speaking of
They gotta blow it up because my nasty agenda that I always push is that Alyssa Thomas is going to the Wings.
Oh, absolutely not. I can't even see her wearing that jersey.
Hey, listen.
Oh nah.
I always say her
Kalani's here.
No. That whole thing gonna shake up. I ain't gotta worry about that. We
Oh,
we gonna we
okay.
gonna we gonna figure it out. But it's just gonna be like she can be the best player on the team without having to be the best player on the team, if that makes sense. Like
Because
Enrique,
Enrique is the best. Yeah.
Enrique, the give me the ball, but Alyssa is what holds everything together, and that is gonna be what push. That's what's gonna feed families. So
Alyssa going.
that's my nasty agenda.
Alyssa's going to the Mercury or the Mystics.
Ew.
No,
The
but the
Mercury
Mercury,
need
I
a
see it
the
too.
Mercury
I see it
need a
too.
real four, and the
Yeah, I
Mystics
see it too.
need a fucking enforcer. Like it. I
okay.
I
got some.
It's funny
I
because
mean,
like it's funny because AT is such a Mystics player in my head.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no. The
Like
Mystics I'm fine
like
with. The
the way
Mercury
that
just don't
like
deserve good things.
and it's funny because I really can see her. I really can see her on the Mercury too. But now that you say Washington, like she's such a Mystic player. Like that's it don't even matter what position you play her at. It doesn't matter. Like she's like just get her in that jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Alyssa and Shakira Austin would be kind of crazy.
You see the vision? I'm just saying, again, I know the head coaching vacancy is there, the GM vacancy is there. Call my phone, okay? Kristi Winter Scott has my number. Tell her we need to talk to Mish. We need this head coach. I'll make it happen. I'm trying to tell y'all. Make it happen.
I, I do like the maybe I am moved by the Alyssa Thomas and Washington. Maybe I mean, because too,
It's
I
fun.
feel like they kind of have. So if they were to keep like everybody that they already have, they can run the floor, which Alyssa Thomas loves to do.
Mm-hmm.
And when she damn, when AT is like going to the basket, she has somebody to kick out to. And they're mostly reliable spot up shooters. So I see the vision. I'm here. I'm
I'm just
here.
saying they will have. I'm thinking they're gonna have the space, and the reason why I also say the Mercury, I'm hearing that DT's retiring, and
Good. Finally.
that will free up
Great.
some dinero.
Wonderful.
Yeah, because she
Fantastic.
I think she's the in terms of last year's salary, she's the highest paid player that's
Mm-hmm.
a free agent this year.
Hurry
Mm-hmm.
up.
So the
Okay, but
question though,
she might take the minimum so that her and
Yeah,
DT.
I'm not so sure. I feel like she might do a she might want a farewell tour.
so the reason why I agree with that is because that last game, the way she went out, fouling out and throwing a tantrum on the court, I'm like the only reason she's coming back in 2025 is to avenge that. Is because her pride, her ego is not, even if she plays one singular game and then it's, oh, my back, oh, this, oh, that, and she takes the minimum, I think it has to happen. But I've been told, because Penny Taylor, her wife, and her son were, front row this season more than they've ever been in the course of her career. It's giving they were trying to make memories. That's what Cindy
Mhm.
Brunson told us on Good Game. So I don't know. I don't know.
If she just comes back, I'm gonna have to get in touch with Alexis Morris. We're gonna have to
So I'm gonna hop off. It's been nice talking with y'all. That's insane. Are you serious?
I'm gonna have to see what Alexis Morris is doing.
No, we're not listening to him. No. Okay. This is the
Wait,
last like serious.
that wire hanger stuff we're gonna have to run that back. Because now you stealing for real. Before it was like it just probably weren't good enough to play. I get it, man. You just kind of hating because you didn't make the roster. I get it, but now Miss Diana, Dirty Diana, you
Oh
stealing.
my God. Anyway, what free agents, Misha?
Okay, so
What free agents would you
so
like? Oh,
yeah,
Jay, go
so
ahead.
I was gonna say because like the the Mystics have four free agents, four players that are becoming free agents. Shatori Walker Kimbrough is an unrestricted free agent, and they have three exclusive rights free agents, and that's Julie Von Lowe, Shook Sutton, Emily Englster.
Hmm.
So of those four, are there anyone that you would like to anyone that you would prioritize in terms of them bringing back?
Emily, still, to me, I think whoever pushes the button on her for real and invests in her for real, like I said earlier on, I think they're gonna reap the benefits of that. So I'm riding the Emily train very hard. Shatori, I'm on her side as well, but I think she's been in the league long enough. She's had experiences with other teams. She would be okay if you let her go. She'll continue on the trajectory that she's on, so long as, she's only playing behind one and a half people, depending on what position you put her at. Shug, scratching my head on that one. And then Julie, like I said, I like her, but she wasn't in my core six for the expansion draft, and I gotta stand on business.
I get it.
Yeah.
I mean, but who out
So
there would you want to get? I mean,
other than Alyssa Thomas.
making sure Elena Deladon come back. You know what I'm saying? If we could get Kristi Toliver on the phone, I think Evie might come back. I don't know. I'm gonna start that rumor though.
I'm not confident in that.
EDD,
Not
you
confident.
are Las Vegas ace.
I don't know. I don't know about that. But of course, because we've already talked to Alyssa Thomas, the natural answer to this question is Dewana Bonner. She is an unrestricted free agent. Um, I what position does Dewana even play anymore? I don't know. I don't know how the Mystics operate with her and Alyssa in the mix. And again, we don't know who they're gonna keep and who they're gonna end up with in the next season. But I think she's just a logical answer there. I don't know. Looking at the free agent list right now.
I
Alicia
might.
Clark back to the Mystics. I mean,
It's fun, like if y'all bring in a point guard, I feel like all of the drive and kick spot up shooters y'all can bring in, I feel like that's a plus.
mhm.
Who point
um,
guards? You got Ivana Dokic. I like Dokic a lot. Again, another 2023 Seattle Storm player. Love her down.
mhm,
And I don't know why Seattle got rid of her, but whatever. Ari McDonald, maybe commit to the bid.
mhm.
Sevi.
Someone else who could be really interesting, and so Gabby Williams, when she came to Seattle,
Mm.
latter half of this season, did it make the biggest impact? Like Seattle was already looking a little nuts to me compared to what I thought they were going to look like. So I wonder if she wants to stay there or if she returned to the WNBA with Seattle just because that was the team she had her last contract with. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I don't know if she intends to stay there, but I know she's a player with a lot of upside. And if the Mystics are going to be rebuilding from scratch, then I think she's someone you look at. If you're rebuilding with core pieces, like we talked more about earlier, then maybe it's not as feasible. But she's going to make a team really happy, whether it's Seattle or whoever in 2025.
Okay.
But yeah, I still think they need a none of those people fix the offensive issues that I think the Mystics have, though. Like, to me, even beyond their lack of execution down the stretch, beyond their need for a solid top tier point guard, to me, their biggest issue is they don't have a go to player right now. They don't know who their go to player is. That was very clear. In how many games did you say they lost by less than 20 points, Don? Like, it's that was what bit them in the ass in the fourth quarter
Yeah, I really don't think it
was
was it was more than like 3 games they lost by more than like 20 points.
Yeah, it was,
They were in so many games.
and they only lost because down the stretch, like I think Jamae alluded to earlier, they didn't know who to give the freaking ball to, and Julie Van Loo was putting up 33-foot bank shot 3-pointers, step backs, looking like they just need to figure out who they're going to build around. I don't think it's going to be Elena Delle Donne. I just think, it's the unspoken thing. I don't know. Yeah, I just don't know that that's reliable. So moving forward, they're gonna have to figure that out. Unless Shakira comes back and has the year that I thought she was gonna have this past season in 2025. I don't know who their go-to player is.
Yeah, I really do hope Shakira gets healthy though, because like I feel like that first when she came back, I was like, "Ooh, I moved,"
Mm-hmm.
and then she got hurt again, and I'm like, but I see the vision. I see the vision.
Yeah.
But even then, even if they want to like build around Aaliyah, I mean, she's a little injury prone too, but she played most of the season, so I don't know. But I agree, you gotta find somebody we're gonna stick around with and go from there.
Well, Jay, would you like to say the line?
Oh, yes, I believe that all hearts and minds are clear. So
Well, this has been another episode of Pull Up 3. I am Paragon Don.
I'm Jamae.
I'm Jay Trent.
Misha Jones.
And this has been another episode. We are out.